Yes.
All right, thank you so much. So, my name is Adeboyega.
Can you click on the slideshow, please, to make it full screen?
All right.
So at the top right hand corner, top right corner, you see slideshow. Just click on it.
All right. Bridging the gap, aligning client needs with software requirements for success. And like I said, my name is Adeboyega Toby. A product manager, I'm a project manager. And I chose this topic because I believe it's something every techie can relate to. Because aligning client needs with software requirements isn't just the job of a product manager or a project manager, right? It spans across you being a graphics designer, you being a developer, you being a UI UX designer, being a DevOps engineer, right? You need to, it is needed that you understand what the client needs, right? And how you can align that with the software requirements to make sure that, okay, yes, you are not only bringing value to the client, but also to the users that would use either that software, that application, or that product. So that is me giving a prelim of what we are going to dive into today. Introduction to client needs. In today's dynamic software landscape, understanding client needs is crucial. This presentation will explore strategies for aligning these needs with software requirements to ensure project success. We will highlight key principles and best practices to bridge the gap between clients and developers effectively, right? So in understanding client needs, it is really important you make sure that you have a clear understanding of what the client wants, or in most cases, what the users want. Because if that is not done, it can lead to scope creep, meaning you do things that are not needed, do things that are quite useless to solving the problems of the users, right? So before hopping on a project, before getting things done, or before thinking of coding, designing, or anything, it is best practice that you understand what this client is trying to achieve, right? What is this thing like? Why is this thing needed? Why do we need to make this happen? Right? Is it crucial enough for us to hop on this? So basically this slide or this presentation would be highlighting key principles and best practices to bridge the gap between clients and developers effectively. And if I mean developers, I'm not just talking about the engineers, I'm talking about everyone who would roll their sleeves and put their hands on deck to make sure that this software, this product, or this service is is deliverable, right? So I'm talking about developers, I'm talking about everybody in tandem. Now, understanding client needs. So align software requirements to client needs. It is essential to conduct thorough stakeholder interviews and gather detailed requirements. This process helps in identifying the core objectives and expectations of the client, ensuring that the final product meets their vision and goals. And I think I've given us a reason why we need to understand client needs. I've given us a basic standing or a foundation why understanding client needs is imperative and it is important. Now, the next question I find myself, um, I see people ask is, okay, how do we make this happen? because if they just give us what they want and we do not understand it, right? The question is how do we understand client needs, right? So it is essential you conduct thorough stakeholder interviews, meaning you reach out to the people who have a say, people who are involved in this project. And in the nitty-gritties of project management and product management, we have three different hierarchies of stakeholders. You have the primary stakeholder, the secondary, and the tertiary, right? And for every project or for every product or for every service you are trying to offer or to work on, you need to be able to identify these stakeholders and then run a thorough interview. Because the need of probably a primary stakeholder would be way different from the need of a tertiary stakeholder. The need of a secondary stakeholder will be way different from the need of a primary stakeholder. So it is best and it is essential to conduct a thorough stakeholder interview. And while doing that, you're able to gather detailed requirements. So for the primary stakeholder, what are we trying to achieve? What are your problems, right? What problems are you facing? How can this product solve your problems? For the secondary, what issues are you facing? How would this solve your problems? By the time you gather all these informations, you now stand a better chance to offer or to curate solutions. So one of the most important way of understanding client needs is by conducting thorough stakeholder interviews and gather detailed requirements. Like I said, this process helps in identifying the core objectives and the expectation of the clients, ensuring that the final product meets their vision and goals. I believe I've explained everything in details. Another way you can bridge the gap, right, is effective communication. And most of the time, especially as techies, we see this under our soft skills, right? On our CVs, portfolios, and stuff. This is because it is vital. It is important, not just in bridging the gap or not just in understanding clients. It is important in communicating between team members, between stakeholders, between management, between executives. So one of the vital way of bridging the gap, I'll say, is effective communication, right? Clear and continuous communication is vital in bridging the gap. Regular updates and feedback sessions with clients foster a collaborative environment. This ensures that any changes made in requirements are promptly addressed, leading to a more aligned and successful project outcome, right? Now, communication, like I said, is important, not just in understanding what the client needs. It's also important in collaborating with the client, right? Meaning that changes that are made, issues that are faced, bugs that are seen, right? Issues that needs to be addressed, needs to be communicated effectively with the clients. Because there are times when, as developers or as project managers, we are not clear of what we want to achieve anytime we face certain issues. And it is best we reach out to these clients or these customers and tell them, okay, this is where we are, this is where we are. What would you advise? What decision would you want to make? Because at the end of the day, we are not making products for ourselves, right? So it is best we communicate that effectively. And one of the best practices I've learned in terms of communication is having, for clients who are not on site, is having a collaborative environment probably every 2 weeks virtually. where you would bring in the client and you bring in your developers, your whole team, and you talk about the updates that span within that 2 weeks. So that is effective communication is one of the vital ways in bridging the gap. Next is iterative development approach, meaning that definitely there'll be issues, right? Definitely you would face challenges in building softwares. That is a no-brainer. But adopting the iterative development approach would make things a whole lot easier, right? Because there are times when issues will spring up that you haven't planned for. But at the same time, that is where the iterative development approach comes in, knowing that you're flexible enough to handle issues and you're flexible enough to incorporate new client feedbacks, right? The more we grow in our tech career, the more we grow in our experience, we'll get to see people or we'll get to see clients who really do not know what they want, which is fine, right? And as you develop, they will bring up new features that they would want you to include in their products, right? At the end of the day, you are not the owner of the products. You are not the one paying for these things. And you would have to either make a compromise and include whatever the client wants. So if you do not adopt an iterative development approach, it will be quite difficult for you to make that happen. So adopting the iterative development approach allows for flexibility, like I said, in incorporating client feedbacks. By breaking down the project into manageable sprints, teams can adapt to evolving requirements while keeping the clients engaged throughout the development process, ensuring satisfaction, right? Alongside this, I would also want to include the fact that there are issues that can stem up, risks that are outside our own control, risks that we do not have control over, and adopting this iterative development approach gives you a leverage to know how to cope certain things, certain issues, and make sure that you are satisfying your client and you're also producing a successful product. Testing and validation. Another way of bridging the gap between client needs and building successful software products is testing and validation. Incorporating testing and validation phases is crucial to ensure that the software aligns with client expectations. Regular testing helps identify discrepancies early on, allowing for timely adjustments and ensuring that final product is of the highest quality. Now this is quite explainable just by reading it. But going in deeply, if you are adopting the iterative development approach, right, it is best practice you include testing and validation, probably at the end of every sprint, to make sure that, okay, yes, this particular feature that this client is requesting for it aligns with the client's expectations, right? So imagine you are always having a 2 weeks conversation with your client, and you're also including the iterative development approach, and you're testing and validating. This whole approach will put you in a position to deliver products in highest quality and at the same time satisfy your clients who are giving you probably a feature or a product to develop. So testing and validation, it is crucial to ensuring that the software aligns with client expectations. And regular testing helps identify issues, discrepancies, or you can call them bugs, allowing for timely adjustment and ensuring that the final product is of the highest quality. Now, conclusion and takeaway. Successful aligning client needs with software requirements is a continuous process that requires commitment to communication, flexibility, and thorough understanding. By implementing these strategies, teams can ensure project success and long-lasting client relationships. Aside this, I would also want to put it out there that this is not a walk in the park, because you would meet clients who do not know how to communicate. You meet clients who are difficult to understand. You meet clients who just want you to work on what they want, not what they need. So, but at the same time, you still have on your own end as a techie or yes, as a techie, you would have to put yourself in a position to communicate, for you to be flexible, and for you to have thorough understanding when dealing with such clients, right? Not only clients, you can be in a position where you're dealing with executives, dealing with team leads, dealing with fellow team members. And these strategies will put you in a position that, okay, you're able to ensure project success, foster long-lasting client relationships, and make sure that you're building successful software products that suits or that suits the needs of your target audience or your user pain points. But yeah, thank you for listening. Please, if you do have any questions, you can ask now. Please, do you have any questions?
All right. Thank you very much, Ade, for the presentation. I just want to ask one question regarding your last point, right? Where customers doing what customer wants, or rather, customer wants you to do what they want rather than what they need, right? So now, in this case, where you understand what they need, how will you convince them that what they need is actually what they're supposed to be doing, what you are supposed to do for them, rather than what they want? Because you know that if they actually go with what they want, it will not lead to their project success or their product success, however. But you need to convince them that, yeah, this is what you support. How do you handle that situation?
All right. Thank you for that question. Majority of the work boils down to communication, right? Because I think we all know the difference between wants and needs, right? And you as a techie or you as a developer coming into a project, you understand the project's goal, you understand the project's vision. But now the question is this client's requirement, does it match the need or does it match his wants, right? It all boils down to influencing, and that is done through communication. You would have to communicate the advantages or the pros and cons of making such decision. at the end of the day, is his idea, is his work and everything. But at the same time, you are the techie. You are the one who would bring that idea to life. So the onus is on you, the responsibility is on you to make sure that you explain in detail term the disadvantage of taking that route. Because most of these guys they know no better. Like, you are the one that has an experience or have an experience in this whole thing. So like I said, it still boils down to communicating with them that, okay, yes, for this feature B, I do not think it's necessary we include it yet, because we still have feature A to push out, right? And if we push out feature B before pushing out feature A, it doesn't solve the problems of it doesn't solve the problem you're trying to solve. So like I said, most of these people do not know certain things. They just know that they have an idea and they would want to create it. Right? So it is your own job, and it's not written in the job description, I know that, but it is your own job to let them know, right, the pros and cons of decisions they want to take. Once you give them that information and then they still decide to go for it, then fine and good. It is in your own will to either continue the work or not. But like I said, if they want something, you have to tell them that this is a want and not a need for the project currently. And once you made that clear to them and you've communicated to them, it still boils down to you either for you to stand your ground, saying, okay, yes, this is what I feel would be best for the project. And this is the reason why I'm saying that with solid proof. And after
Okay, so I guess he's having a bit of a network challenge. And but please, can anyone hear me? Hello, please, can anyone hear me? Okay, thank you very much. All right, so there's a glitch in his network, and I actually have a question for him. And also, do we have questions, please? Does anybody have a question? Let's hope that he comes back. Okay, are there members of his team here? Is there anyone that is on the same team with him here?
hello, can you hear me?
Okay, you're back. Yes, we can hear you. So, hi, thank you so much, Precious, for the presentation. I actually have a question. I don't know if others have. All right, so you actually mentioned something about the iterative approach. I think that's like one of the strategies for bridging the gap, and you said iterative approach. I would like you to elaborate. Okay, I didn't really get, because from my idea of iteration is more like taking one thing and making multiples out of it. So when you say the iterative approach, how